Hey, welcome back to Just in the Mix. This is Justin. This is our fourth video in our installment. It's going to be the last one. We're going to be looking at routing and mastering. Let's get into it.
Routing and mastering. Every individual track has their subfolders and their subtracks, right? But everything is going to the routing folders. So say all these vocals are going to the routing folder. I prefer the routing folder as to auxiliary sends and auxiliary buses. Just because it's easier for me and it cleans it up and it pretty much does the same thing, if I'm being honest. That's how I have all my individual track buses, everything. As you can see, it's all condensed and it's all controlled by a single fader. And I like that. What I use auxiliary sends for are parallel buses, effect sends, reverbs, delay, and so forth. I put the vocal reverb and delay on the track itself because, I don't know, I wanted to. I wanted to. But normally I would send it to auxiliary buses. Like these that we have up here. I have a strings bus, I have a band bus, I have a parallel mix, and a mix bus. All of those are feeding to the master fader. But let's say my strings bus. What is feeding my strings bus? Well, anything that has strings. So it would be my guitars and my bass. My band would be the whole band as a whole, so it'd be my strings bus is being sent to the band mix, then also my drums are being sent there, and my effects, not my effects, I'm sorry, my synths. Then after that, the band bus is being sent to the mix bus. Now just the way I do it, my impacts get sent to the mix bus, and also my vocals get sent to the mix bus. And then from the mix bus, I have a carbon copy send going to my parallel track. And then that's all going to the master chain for the master processing and so forth. So let's get started here. I'll go ahead and solo my strings. Oh, my strings are not being soloed. I'm sorry, Pro Tools is kooky like that. Now, what I like to do to my string bus is I like to use a C4. And that's just to tame up the low end a little more, just to tighten it up so that way it's not too crazy. And I don't have muddiness and other problematic things going on in the low end. I'm only using the low band just to kind of tame that, as you can see here. Now, another thing that I use, this is a pro secret right here. It's a pro secret. You're only getting this information here and probably on thousands of other videos on YouTube. But this is called Track Spacer. What Track Spacer is, it takes a keyed send. Pretty much I can send my kick and my bass drum to a bus. So this is a sidechained bus, bus number 19. It's usually what I use. I just put everything in 19 all the time. What Track Spacer will do is it will take the whole frequency spectrum of those kicks, snares, whatever you toss into it, and it will duck those frequencies out of the track that you put it on. So let me bring in my drums. It makes room for my drums to breathe. So that way, again, it's cleaner, there's not muddy, and yeah, I'm doing it at a ratio about 5.5%. That's where I found out that sounded pretty good to me. With this plugin, you can adjust the frequency spectrum and the range that you want it to affect. But here is the main and most important part. You want a fast attack and a fast release, because if your release is too slow, you'll hear divots in the sound, like boom, 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 boom. It'll add pumping, and you don't want that. And I'll show you now. You still want everything to be upfront and punchy, which is why you just want it to duck for a short amount of time. And you could do this too in Pro Q3. You could sidechain. Let's say your low frequency was your 50 hertz right here, right? And that's your fundamental frequency for your bass guitar. What you could do is you could turn that into one of these dynamic bands, and you can bring this down. And if you go from the auto settings here, you can click this button, and that'll be your sidechain button. Then you add your key input. So for me, it would be 19. Where's 19? And now this is only going to go down when the kick and snare go down. There, it's affecting that low band. But yeah, like you could totally do that. But Track Spacer just makes it easy and finds those frequencies for you and does everything that you want to do a lot faster. And it's not that expensive either. I think it was like $50. That's all I do for my strings. And then we go over to my band bus, and the band's there. And I chose this time to not do anything to the band bus. I mean, usually what I would add like a SSL compressor just to kind of glue everything else together. But in this song, I didn't. And that's just a decision that I made because I was liking how I was going. You have to know when to cut off yourself from damaging your mix. I've had so many years of struggle and just like discipline to where like, no, it sounds good. That's it. I'm moving forward. Otherwise, I would have been mixing this track for weeks instead of 2 days, like how I did. So now we're going to go to the main mix. This is another secret of mine, is adding this EQ but not doing anything with it. All I have to do, or all I'm doing, is attenuating 1 dB, but it adds something to the track. It adds a warmth to the track that I just don't know why. I don't know why it does that. Maybe Waves, if Waves ever watched this video, please check it out. Let me know. But I'll go ahead and play it. I'll bypass it and put it in. It's like a lift in the low end, just a smidge, and I like it, so I'm putting it there. And again, parallel EQ, smashing the shit out of our parallel mix compressor and fading it into the band. So brings up that low end again. I keep saying low end. It is kind of beefing up the low end a little bit, but I want to say it's also giving the song presence. Dang, look at me. Professional presence. And the vocals are being sent to that mix bus, and that's it. Now everything else is being sent to our mastering chain, and I will go over this mastering chain with you now. Aside from the limiter that I use, L2, just beefing it up, we want to make sure that our mix hits our mastering chain at about -6 peak, more or less. I think I ran a little hotter with this mix. Let's find out. I'm like -3, like a -3. But again, it's all personal preference. Typically, I recommend aiming for -6. So I could have been a little quieter, but I still wanted to be dynamic, and I didn't really want to smash my limiter. Again, personal preference. This is just how I do it. So I'll add that limiter back on so we can hear what's going on. Our first plugin in the chain. All I'm doing here is using this EQ in mid-side mode. And that's because I backed off. But I'm really controlling the mid-range right here. And I will A-B it for you now. So without it. subtle changes. I'm not doing too much. 0.95, 1 or negative 1.10, 0.95, 0.50. Just subtle moves to kind of sweeten the sound and clean it up a little bit. And again, these are frequency ranges that I chose for the reason. 64 hertz, low end kick. 512, taking out some of that boxiness in the mid range. 1.2, boosting a little bit of sweetness, little intelligence there for the or intelligence presence. Where did I learn intelligence from? I think Hofa, the school I went to. They used the word intelligence in certain areas, and I think it just stuck with me. Presence, 1.2, and just a little bit of top end at 8.1. And I'm not even using the spreader here. What? That's crazy. Justin, you always use the spreader. Yeah, but I decided to use a different stereo imaging plugin for that because I really wanted to try it out. I don't think I'm doing anything here. Nope. That's it for this plugin. And then here is where I'm doing my mid-side kind of processing. The point of this was to clean up my low end even more, which is, with this band specifically, is I'm removing it from the sides so it doesn't sound muddy on the sides. I'm also taking away a couple boxy frequencies on the sides as well, especially that one. Taking more out here. Notice how this is a mid band, and I actually meant to take it out on the sides, but it stuck with it. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes, but I think it really helped tame the snare. So this is what happens if I were to bypass it. Just trying to clean up mud, pretty much. And then we have another sideband here. Well, this is the same sideband, and then I'm working with the mid, kind of tightening up the low end in the mid range, in the center. And here's my stereo imager, just to make it wider. That's it. I'm going into a limiter. This is another free plugin, the You Mean This Louder. Free. You Lean Loudness Meter 2. That's a tongue twister. This is where I determine my loudness in my song. I try to shoot for a negative 11 for kind of a dynamic mix in some ways. If I want to smash it, I go to like negative line. But nah, that's not what I'm aiming for here. And that's it. That's really it. And then if we take a look at our analyzer here. There you have it. That's the mastering chain. That's the routing. And hopefully you learned something and mix your own songs now.
And there you have it. You've mixed your song from the ground up. I hope I was able to answer some questions and help you guys out, and I hope you learned something from this. I plan on making more videos like this in the future, and if you have any recommendations, please go ahead and drop it in the comment below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one. Tell your family and your friends you love them. Peace.